Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our new series of seminars. Today we have an invited speaker, Zhimeng Jiang. He will give a talk on fairness in machine learning, metrics and algorithms. So let me introduce briefly the speaker to you. Zhimeng is a staff research scientist at Visa Research. He's also a final year Ph.D. student in computer science from Texas A&M University. Before that, he received his BS degree from Harbin Institute of Technology and MSc from the University of Science and Technology of China. His research interests fall in graph learning. It covers also trustworthy machine learning and efficient machine learning. His research has a very outstanding publication track record. So he has been awarded the Outstanding Paper Award at ICML 2022 and the Best Demo Paper Award at CIKM 22. He has published more than 20 papers in top-tier venues, including NeurIPS, ICML, ICLR, TheWebConf, IJCAI, CIKM, and TMLR. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're very looking forward to your talk. So let me just stop the screen sharing.
Okay. Hi, Eva. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so I will start. Yeah. So firstly, I would like to thank Professor Zhimeng for the invitation and for the introduction. So I'm very happy to give this talk about the main focus of during my PhD study, the fairness in machine learning, metrics and algorithms. So actually, I just passed my thesis defense last week. So after that, I moved to California for the full-time job. So I'm very happy to share this great news with you guys. Yeah, so
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, so the title of this talk is Fairness in Machine Learning, Metrics and Algorithms. So I will introduce several fairness related work. Yeah. So if you have any questions, yeah, please feel free to ask. Yeah, here is the brief introduction for me. So I guess Professor has already done that, so I just skip this part. Yeah. Then here is the background. So machine learning systems are currently almost everywhere nowadays, and there are many different machine learning models applicable in many applications such as social network, e-commerce system, and healthcare. So for example, in social networks, machine learning models can be used to recommend the friendship or some post in social media. Yeah, in e-commerce systems, the machine learning models can be also used to help the advertisers to accurately find the targeted customers or users, etc. Yeah. Yeah. However, there are some challenges posed by the machine learning models. That is called algorithmic bias. So algorithm bias represents that the outcome of the machine learning systems or machine learning models could show some discrimination towards some specific demographic groups. So here the demographic groups are represented by the sensory attribute, it could be male or female groups like this. So from the society perspective, I think the bias is widely exist in our daily life. So so I think we can understand this problem from two perspectives. So the first is that the bias could be reflected in the kind of training data, because this kind of training data are usually generated by the human activities, right? Yeah, but still like the human could still like have some bias, like for some reason. Yeah. Secondly, the current machine learning models like are data driven. So like we usually need a lot of training data to train our machine learning models. Yeah, during the model training, the bias could be amplified in this step. Yeah, so here I provide an example for the image recognition systems. So as you can see, like for this figure, so actually the image recognition systems identify this figure as woman. Like that could be like show some machine learning model behaviors, like they intend to identify like there's someone in the kitchen like as woman. So this kind of like unfair, like to yeah for different gender group. Uh, Unfortunately, like I think uh, the most another problem is that the biased training data, biased model, biased decision making can even uh, form a feedback loop. So, like as you can see, if we have some biased training data, then we just use this biased training data to train our model, then easily we will get a biased model. If we did nothing to this, we just deployed the biased model in real world applications, then we will make the biased decision making. So this kind of biased decision making will make the training data even more biased. So essentially, the biased training data, biased model, biased decision making will form a self-reinforced loop. So this will make the bias problem more severe. So that indicates that like we have to do something in this loop. So the solution is very simple. So we have to try to break this loop, like either from data or model perspective. So here is like some example for the consequence of the machine learning systems bias. So like for example, in business, so like if there is some data bias, and based on the data robot companies results, they show that like the data bias actually has some business impact. They can lead to some like revenue or customers loss. And also the second example would be like the Microsoft AI chatbots. So like as I remember, the AI chatbots service is just like was launched in maybe 2015. So but just like launched for 10 hours, because like there are some like biased issue. Like many people blame the Microsoft for this, so they just shut down their service. So like in one word, I mean the bias will increase the financial loss or production risk. So it is very important and critical to tackle the machine learning biased issue. And here is also another like efforts, like so like to show some case, like for example the GDPR, so which is like proposed by Europe, so the General Data Protection Regulation. So like so this kind of like a law like to regulate the current machine learning systems or models. And also there are several other big companies like paying a lot of efforts uh, in machine learning systems ethics problems. the most recent example would be GPT-4. I guess everyone knows GPT-4. So, which is released by OpenAI. So from their official website, OpenAI say that actually they have spent almost 6 months to iteratively align the GPT-4 behavior, like to make sure like the GPT-4 behavior could be consistent with the human preference. So yeah, I treat this like as like one of the example for the ethic AI. Yeah, in this talk, we mainly focus on the fairness problems. So which is also like one specific topic in the ethic AI. So the goal of the fairness in machine learning is try to develop the ML models that are like making decisions with the fair outcomes. So like I think for these problems, so we have three things like to tackle. So the first is that the metrics, like so given a specific machine learning models, how can we evaluate the outcome bias? So in the current literature, like we usually uh, so I think the first thing is that we have to identify what kind of groups so we wanna like achieve the fairness. So the first thing is that like, oh, you have to select the sensory attribute or protected attribute. So for example, like gender. So yeah, if you select the gender as the sensory attribute, oh, that means like you wanna achieve like some same behaviors for different groups. The second is the data. The third is the model. So like from the data perspective, like since as I mentioned before, like things like usually the bias will the bias that usually exist in current training data. So the most straightforward way is try to de-bias the data. So like in that way, the model can somehow be more fair. The another way is like try to focus on the model perspective. So even though we have some data bias um, in the training data, but still we can get a fair model as long as you did something during the training. For example, you can develop a fancy training strategy like to get a fair model. So yeah, so here is the overview in this talk. So I will introduce five uh papers related on the fairness. So I will talk about it like one by one. So here is for the first work, the generalized demographic parity. So actually this paper like mainly focus on the metric perspective. So uh I think so basically in this work we try to develop a group fairness matrix that can be applicable for continuous sensory attributes and also uh such like metrics can be estimated with trajectory computation. So I think the first question is that why do we need this matrix for a continuous sensory attribute? So here I provide like one specific example, like to show that when continuous sensory attribute happens. So actually, I would like to say the motivation for this work is from the it's from the one collaboration with another data company. So like in that collaboration, I try to ask some real world data like from the data company, but due to the privacy issue or like privacy concern, the data company cannot directly share the individual level human mobility data to us, like because this kind of confidential. So here, yeah, but instead they can try to aggregate the raw data and showed us like the aggregator like this. So here we don't have the individual level data, but instead we have the region level data. Oh, that means like for a different region, we have the human mobility data like between different regions. So in that case, for each region, the gender like attribute will be essentially continuous because it represents the ratio like of the male or the female in that region. So that's one of the case for the continuous sensory attribute. And also if you choose the age as the sensory attribute, then this attribute is essentially continuous.
Can I ask you a quick question? Sorry. So what do you mean by region here? So first, on top, you have like individual based kind of analysis, right? So when you do aggregation, is it like based on clusters? So is the region actually a group of people?
Yes.
Okay.
Here the region could like represent like different county or different state, like
Different states. So it's basically geographic region. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yes, geographic region. Yeah. So then we will talk about like some existing work on the fairness matrix for the continuous sensory attributes. So I would like to say like the existing fairness matrix are for continuous sensory attributes are highly based on like the statistical independency, such as the mutual information, the HDR matrix. But however, for this kind of matrix, it's very hard to estimate the true value. Like this could be like very important because we need to or like we relied on the fairness matrix value to evaluate the algorithms. So if the estimation error like is not that accurate, that could be like hurt the role of the matrix, right? So in that way, we claim that it's very important to develop a fairness matrix for continuous sensory attribute, but also like this kind of matrix should be very easy to estimate. So I provide like one specific example to estimate the mutual information. This is quite complicated. So like in this ICML 2018 paper, they try to use the neural networks to approximate the mutual information based on the variational representation of the mutual information. So this is quite complicated. They need to solve this optimization to get a mutual information estimation. So motivated by this, so we want to develop a very simple fairness metric for continuous attribute, and also it's very easy to estimate. So here we provide some comparison with our proposed generalized demographic parity named GDP, like compare with several existing other metrics like the demographic parity and the DDP. So here these three metrics, like for example for the first one, the demographic parity matrix, this matrix can be only used for binary sensory attribute. The matrix like evaluation it's very simple. They just try to separate the samples into, for example, into different groups, the male and the female groups, and also they try to calculate the average prediction values for different groups. So the matrix would be the average prediction gap between these two groups. Oh, so if they have the same average prediction, then somehow like we say the model is kind of fair in terms of the demographic parity, because like for this matrix, they try to evaluate the model prediction variable, like the statistical independency for the sensory attribute and the model prediction. And but actually, like, we can also understand the demographic parity, the existing fairness matrix, like from the local and the global part. So here, the global part like just means the average model prediction for the whole data set. So if we can, I would like to say this kind of like equivalent. So our proposed GDP, is developed by this high level idea. So but the different thing is that since the sensory attribute is continuous, so here we don't have this blue and the red point. We have the blue curve and the red curve. So the high level idea is try to measure the distance between these two curves. So if the red and the blue curves are the same, that means like the model provide the same behaviors for different given different continuous sensory attribute.
So can I ask you a quick question? Sorry, because many here may not have the background. So basically, what you're saying, I love how you ordered this based on binary classification. You have categorical and you have the continuous basically variable. So ideally, do you want the blue to be overlaid with the red, or so how can you know that? How can you disentangle a true bias from an inherent difference or dissimilarity, right? So so ideally you would want the model to perform and predict better on all, right? So what is your ideal here outcome if there is no bias at all?
Oh, then the red curve and the blue curve will be the same.
Will be the same, exactly.
Yeah. That means like for different sensory attributes group, they have the same model behavior.
Absolutely, very good. Yeah, just confirming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I will go ahead. So so here we'll provide several justifications to understand the proposed GDP matrix. So the first thing is that the GDP is a natural extension for the existing fairness group fairness matrix. So the first thing is that so here the DP and the DDP is the conventional conventional fairness matrix for the binary or categorical sensory attributes. So here the first point is that the GDP and the DP are somehow equivalent, except that like the data set dependent coefficient for binary sensory attribute. So the data set dependent coefficient is not that actually doesn't hurt anything, because like we usually evaluate the fairness algorithms like in the same data set, right? Otherwise we cannot compare the fairness performance. So like in that sense, the data set dependent coefficient doesn't hurt like for the fairness evaluation. And also we also show that the GDP is a weighted DDP for continuous for categorical attributes. Like that means like, we have established like some extension for the previous matrix, and also we show that the GDP actually can work for continuous sensory attribute. So which is the main goal of this paper. The second part is that we try to understand the proposed GDP. So what this matrix is there any insight behind this GDP matrix? So I would like to say the ideal case is the same. Like the model prediction should be like statistically like independent with the sensory attribute. So that means the joint distribution between the model prediction and the sensory attribute should be the same with the product marginal distribution for these two variables, right? So yeah, so in this work, we show that actually the GDP is a lower bound for these two distribution distance. So like actually it is the total variation distance. Yeah, that could be like somehow justify why the GDP can work well, like from the probabilistic perspective. Yeah, and also we established like the we also show that so firstly the GDP can be served as a regulator to train the fair model. Yeah, for the GDP regulator, so we also try to establish the connection with the another important baseline. So we call it adversarial debiasing. So yeah, so basically we can show that there is also a bound for the loss, for the GDP loss and the adversarial loss. The high level idea for the adversarial debiasing is also very simple. This kind of like the game, this kind of like so so basically it is a two-player game. In the first part, we have the model prediction. Yeah, we have a model to predict some labels. Yeah, and in the second part, we have the discriminator. For example, like given the model prediction or the model or the representation, we try to predict the sensory attribute for this sample. So like in the ideal case, so if the model is fair, then no matter like how you train the discriminator, so like the discriminator cannot identify the sensory attribute based on the representation or this kind of like two-player game. So in our work, we try to establish the connection between these two parts. Yeah, I think the another part is would be the GDP estimation. So like even though you have some justification for the proposed metrics, but still in practice you need a estimation method to like in the implementation, right? So you have to justify that the GDP can be easily estimated. Yeah, this is another goal for this paper. So so actually we propose two estimation methods, and also we try to analyze the estimation accuracy for these two estimation methods. So the high level idea for these two estimation methods, like it's try to estimate the blue curve point, because in practice like for each sample you will have the model prediction, right? So this kind of like this gray point, but still you have to estimate the blue point from this the blue curve from this gray points, right? So so the key question is try to estimate this blue part. For the histogram estimation, the high level idea is very simple. So firstly, we just like directly divide of this data sample into different buckets. So here the buckets like just defined by some specific sensory attribute range. So like in that way, we can just estimate the blue curve like using the average operation for each bucket. So this is the naive way to do that. Another one is the kernel estimation. The difference the difference is that in kernel estimation we use the soft graph group strategy to divide the data samples. Like
Sorry, when you say divide, is it clustering or grouping the data, the training data samples per attribute? For example, if you want to see if there is a bias towards gender, male or female, right? Or towards a particular geographic region, right, in terms of news, how do you do actually the clustering or the grouping? So do you take, for example, 20%, if you look at the graph, 20% male, 80%, and then you do the model prediction on that, like subsample or subset of training samples, right? And then you predict and see how it goes when you have these varying ratios, right? And do you overlap the groups, or do you split them independently completely with different ratios, or do you allow overlapping? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So firstly, the sensory attribute is observed. So yeah, in our data set. So if we use the histogram estimation, so like for example, we can just split the continuous sensory attribute like into different buckets. So like for example, if the continuous sensory attribute range is from 0 to 1, then we have, for example, we have 10 buckets. Then like, yeah, from the point 0 to point 1, they could be first bucket. Then point 1 to point 2, like could be the second bucket.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
okay.
for the histogram estimation, there's no any overlap in the bucket. Yeah, but for the soft group, so we allow the overlap. This kind of like we treat one specific so like for the soft group, so there are some like probabilities that assign into different buckets. So yeah, this kind of like soft group strategy. So yeah, we also provide the analysis for the estimation error for these two methods. So actually we can show that both of them can achieve the nearly like zero estimation error as long as we have many data samples. Yeah, but the convergence rate is different. So we can show that the kernel estimation, the convergence rate for the kernel estimation is faster than the histogram estimation. So yeah, so the conclusion is that the kernel estimation is better. Yeah, because like we give them like more flexibility. So yeah, it is not surprise to get it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Then we conduct several experiments to validate the conclusion. So in the synthetic experiments, we try to validate the accuracy of the GDP estimation error for these two methods. Yeah, we consider several different parameters such as the bandwidth, the kernel option, the kernel choice options, and the number of samples. So like as you can see, the kernel estimation, like for example in this figure, it is seen that you can choose different kernels in the kernel estimation method. Yeah, but fortunately, like the kernel estimation like it is somehow robust over the kernel choice or bandwidth choice. And also we can show that the estimation error for the kernel estimation is lower than the histogram estimation. Yeah, we also conduct the experiments on real world data, like to show how the GDP regulator can help them the model in terms of the fairness. So we try to evaluate the effectiveness like over many different settings. Like for example, the GDP regulator can be used for tabular graph and the dynamic graph data. They can also use for the classification and the regression task. They can also use used for single or compositional sensory attributes. So because like in practice you may like chase like some compositional sensory attribute fairness. Like that means like oh, you want to achieve the fairness for many sensory attributes. Like for example, it could be the gender, it could be the race. Like yeah. So we just try to show that the GDP regulator is very like can be used for many different settings.
What are the comparison, the benchmark methods you used here? What did you compare against in the literature, in the state of the art methods?
Oh, okay. So actually here we have the vanilla method. We also have like the 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 like the DP regulation method. We also have the adversarial biasing. So we have mentioned that before. Yeah, and also there are some other metrics that can be used for 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 I mean in the regularization term, like for example the HGR matrix or mutual information. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So then I will move on the second topic. The learning fair graph representation via automated data augmentations. So this work is try to mitigate the graph representation bias from the data perspective. So specifically, we try to integrate the data augmentation technique, like to solve these problems. Yeah. So I think the motivation for the automated data augmentation is like this because so there are several existing fairness aware graph data augmentation technique. So for example, I'm not sure whether you are familiar with the graph data. So but actually like for graph data, we have several nodes like with node attributes, right? And at the same time, we also have the adjacency matrix that integrate the node connections, like whether there's connections between these two nodes. This connection can somehow represent the similarity between different nodes. Yeah, this the graph data. Yeah, so basically in graph data, we have node attributes. We have the adjacency matrix integrate the topology for the whole for all the nodes. Yeah. So the existing the fairness aware graph data augmentation techniques like many rely on the heuristic like graph properties that can beneficial to fair graph learning. Like for example, we can mask like some node attributes like to achieve the fair representation learning. Like because like essentially there could be some specific attribute that is highly related to the label or sensory attributes. Like in that case, it's very easily to use that specific attribute information to estimate the sensory attribute. So that in that case, that could be somehow cause the information leakage. So the most straightforward way is try to mask this kind of attributes, like to help the fair representation learning. And another way is try to revise the graph topology. So like because the graph topology can also contain some sensory attribute information there. So if you try to revise them, it's possible to achieve the fair representation learning. Yeah, but I would like to say this, all of these existing methods are somehow heuristic. So they first identify some properties and then they use the feature masking or topology rewiring to achieve these heuristic graph properties. Yeah. So I would like to say this kind of method may not be optimal. Like, yeah, because it's kind of a heuristic. So we want to make them learnable, make them automated. This is the motivation for this work. Yeah, so here I provide two examples here. So the left one, it could be like, so here the different colors represents different sensory attributes, and each circle represents a node. So like, for example, in this case, oh, like assume this green one is male and the blue one is female. So it is easily to find that most of the female are connected together. So for this kind of data, it's very easily to use the neighborhood, the sensory attribute of the neighborhood to identify the sensory attribute for the central node. So that means that the topology can somehow contain the information there. So the high level idea for this work is try to balance the inter and intra age. So here the inter age is like this too, like because the connected node pairs have different sensory attributes. Yeah, for the intra age, that means like the connected node pairs have the same sensory attribute. So the idea is, yeah, for this work is try to balance the inter and the intra age. Yeah, another method is called nifty. So they try to flip the sensory attributes to somehow construct the counterfactual graph. Yeah, like so yeah, here like we try to flip this node, flip the sensory attribute of this node. Like after obtaining the counterfactual graph, they can somehow use the contrastive learning to achieve the fairness.
So why are you flipping the attributes, the labels? You're flipping the labels to identify if there is a bias because of, so what is can you clarify a little bit this flipping strategy of the labels, of the attributes?
Okay. Yeah, because ideally, we want to achieve the same behaviors, like if the sensory attribute is changed, like, yeah, that means like our model prediction is somehow unrelated with the sensory attribute, because even though you change the sensory attribute, the model prediction is still the same.
So do you change during the training? So so that because there was inference and there was training, right? So when do you actually do when do you actually change?
Oh, yeah, in this work they only change the sensory attribute and keep the other normal features.
Okay.
Like so actually in the model training, so both view of the graph are required to keep are required during the model training, because the high level idea for the contrastive learning is that the model prediction should be the same for these two different inputs.
I see. Okay. When you temper one attribute amongst the list of attributes that you have.
Yeah.
So it should be kind of not sensitive to that one.
Yep.
There's or bias. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is what contrastive learning do. So yeah, actually in the contrastive learning, you have to consider what kind of other view of the data you need to construct. Yeah, so here, yeah, they construct a counterfactual graph. Yeah, that means like flipping the sensory attribute. Yeah, so in our proposed method is called graph air. So this kind of like the novel automated graph augmentation method for the fair graph learning. So here, in our method, we consider two types of the graph transformations, like including the age perturbation and the node feature masking. So yeah, so that means like we have multiple ways to debias the bias in the graph context. Yeah, and also our techniques is the end-to-end training. So we have many different optimization objectives, like to train, like to know like how we can perturbate the edge or the links, how we can mask the node features. Yeah. So here is the overview for our work. I would like to say it's kind of complicated. So let's go one by one. So like, for example, we have the input graph like this. So here is the node features. This is the graph topology. Yeah, and in our augmentation module, we have two parts. So the the top one is that like how can we generate another adjacency matrix? Yeah, how can we like do that? So here like because our framework is end to end, so like essentially this adjacency matrix is kind of like continuous. This not binary. This not like the input one. The input one is binary. It is connect which indicates the nodes, the node pairs connect or not. Yeah, but in our framework, so we have to learn a continuous one, and then after that we do a sampling to get a binary version of the adjacency matrix. Yeah, in the bottom one, so here we learned a mask, a node feature masking matrix, which is the same as the node feature matrix. Yeah, and similarly, this matrix is essentially continuous. So we need a sampling uh, procedure like to get a binary one. Yeah, so like because there is a sampling procedure in this step, so like it's not easy like the conventional neural networks because this step is not differentiable. So like yeah, there are several many other metrics to approximate this step to make it like trainable. So we just directly use that tree. Yeah. So
Can I ask
like
a question? Sorry. Instead of doing like maybe a naive approach would be to sample many subgraphs, train on those, see the performance, and then combine the average. Just take the average of the random sampling. Would that be something that you can easily back propagate, or do you need something more advanced? Like, what would be a naive approach to the sampling procedure?
oh uh,
Is it
um
feasible? My question. Yeah.
yeah, it is feasible. So the most famous technique is called the Gumbo softmax.
Mm-hmm.
So uh so like for me, I think it's very hard to it's very hard to say the core ideas for the Gamma Max. It's kind of like complicated, but I would like to say they just use a differentiable operation to
Mm-hmm.
approximate the sampling uh step. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Thank you.
this kind of like the approximation method.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then yeah, after the augmentation module, so we have another fail view. So here in the fail view, we have done some the edge perturbation and the node feature masking like this. So remember like we have the input graph view, we have the fail view. So we have like so we have multiple things to do that. So the first thing is that uh we need to consider the try to maximize the agreement between these uh two graphs. Like that means like oh that means like if these two views have the same predictions, then we can somehow say that the fail view will will preserve some useful information there. Yeah, and another loss like would be the adversarial part, like because in the fair view construction, we just want to debias the graph data, right? Like in terms of the node features and the topologies. So the ideally, so like if we use the adversarial to predict the node sensory attributes, like based on this field view graph data, then it's very hard to achieve that. So yeah, so like for this part, yeah, we just directly integrate the adversarial debiasing into this case to trace the fairness property. Yeah, and also at the same time, we do something like to preserve the informativeness of the field view graph. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's yeah.
sorry, this is really wonderful. I love this whole framework. So when you try to maximize the agreement between the fair view that has been somehow debiased, right, and the original view of the graph, how so you're kind of bringing the mapping, the learned mapping from input to output. So the F mapping, right, of the two graphs, the original versus the fair, you're aligning the mapping with the learned weights, right, somehow. So my question is, how can you make sure that this alignment somehow does not preserve some bias, right? Like is it even a plausible question that I'm asking? So because you're approximating the path from input to output, and the final outcome, what you want to have is basically the prediction, the model behavior to be the same. So if somehow you're making both mappings very close, you're making the predictions very close, which means the prediction of the fair model will be close to the prediction of the original model. However, the prediction of the original model is maybe biased because of the data. Is my reasoning correct or not? Do you get my point?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I get a point. Yeah, I would like to say for the fairness part, like it is many like guaranteed by this part, by the adversarial part. Yeah, because like we assume that like for this kind of loss, it will somehow push, it will somehow debias the bias in the field view graph. Yeah, and also at the same time, we also try to keep the useful information in the field graph view. So like and then here the GNN model is mainly for the model prediction for the specific label, and then like if the field view graph containing sufficient useful information, then we would like to say the model prediction, like for this specific label, like should be the same because they keep the useful information for the label prediction.
Okay, I get your
Yeah.
point, but I need to think about it in more depth. I have another question about the data balance. So what if you have a data imbalance? Let's say, for example, you have two sources of news and one of them is completely misinformed, but the majority of the sources that you have where you're collecting a certain type of information is completely is basically plagued with like false information. Let's say the blue one here. So you have a data imbalance like between two sources. And how can you disentangle from the get-go? From the beginning, you have some corrupted sources and you have some clean sources. And sometimes you have the corrupted sources outweighing a number of the clean sources of information. How does this, like fair model address that inherently? Or what I'm pointing out right now is a completely different problem or another level of complexity?
So here you missed you mentioned the balance, like is for the node, for the graph node, or like
No,
other
the
data
labels.
source.
Yeah, the
The
labels.
labels.
So you have completely biased imbalance, a data imbalance. Like, for example, if you do also a gender study or geographic study, you're sampling from a particular region, or if it's gender, you're sampling from a particular gender, right? So how do you can your model address that bias in terms of balance? Say 80% of your data, 80% is male and 20% is female, right?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
in that sense, for example.
yeah, I guess like yeah, if the ratio is kind of like 80 versus 20, then yeah, then it's okay. Yeah, because like in several like real world data set, yeah, it is kind of like imbalance, like 80 to 20. Yeah, but it is not like the 99 to 1%. So
91 to
yeah,
1%. Okay, so
like for that kind of like highly imbalanced uh problems, I would like to say, yeah, that could be different.
okay, so I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you a
Yeah.
more difficult question. So I'm going to challenge you. So that
Hmm.
if you have 80/20, this will still work. What if your
Hmm.
labels are corrupted? So let's say, for example, like you have
Uh-huh.
mislabeling. And for example, I work on
Hmm.
medical imaging and we do a lot of kind of mislabeling due to time
Oh.
constraints and all of that. So what if you have corrupted labels in your data? How can you discover corrupted labels, corrupted information? How can you account for that and still have a fair model trained
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
corrupted labels? Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. So yeah, I would like to say I don't know the answer for this question because we haven't tested the
Okay.
performance of our method in the label noise setting. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but like from my understanding, like I do have like some research work that on the label noise. Like, but yeah, but I would like to say, um, for most of the work, like they try to identify the noisy sample, like either like before the model training or during the model training. Like for example, like we
Mm.
can, yeah, if, for example, we can use the memorization effect to identify the label noise. Like, yeah,
So you
like,
it's like a prior step generally. Like
yeah,
you pre-identify. Okay. Thank you so
yeah.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, like yeah. Here is the detail uh, for the augmentation module. I think I have mentioned it before. So like due to the time limited time, so I just wanna like quickly go through the technical part. And yeah, so here is the loss function. Um, so as I mentioned before, so we use the adversarial training or debiasing to achieve the fairness property. Uh, yeah, this kind of like a two-play game. So we have our prediction model. We also have the discrimination uh, module, like to identify whether there is any central attribute information containing in the node representation or model prediction. So this this is a very conventional part, like and also we achieve the informativeness via contrastive learning. So the data is like try to maximize the agreement between these two views, the original graph view and the fail view. So I would like to say like for this part, yeah, we also like uh, use the very famous technique to achieve this part. Yeah, the novelty of this part is try to how can we how can we construct the fair view? Yeah, how can we make it differentiable? Like, yeah, I think this is the most novel part for our idea. Yeah.
Very good. So how did you make it differentiable in a few words?
Uh,
The
yeah, yeah,
novel, the novel contribution.
just I mentioned before. Yeah, we use the Gumbo softmax trick. Like, so
Okay.
here, yeah, just use one differentiable operation to approximate the sampling process.
So that is an existing tool, basically, but you adapted it and you
Yeah,
integrated it in your
yeah,
framework, and you
yep,
were the first to
yes,
do that. Excellent. Oh,
yes,
okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
For our experiments, we try to validate two questions. So the first is about the performance compared with several baseline methods, and also we try to compare the trade-off performance. Like because like in fairness machine learning like uh so of course, we want to debias the model, the debias the model prediction, but also we need to preserve the accuracy performance. So yeah, so here is the result for the question 1. So here ACC represents the accuracy, the DP and the EO are the fairness matrix. So the lower the better, the higher the better for the accuracy. So as we mentioned before, so our method can achieve the lower fairness matrix. Yeah, and also at the same time, the accuracy is somehow comparable. Yeah, but I would like to say, but still, like from this table, it's still very hard to compare the performance like for different methods, right? Because we have multiple matrix, like it's very hard to compare. So in this figure, that could be like make it like more clear. Yeah, because like as we mentioned, so because like in our method, we have multiple loss functions. Like so of course we will have the hyperparameter between these two, between these like multiple loss functions, right? So we can like use different hyperparameters to get a different performance. So and then we will get a trade-off performance curve by controlling the hyperparameters. Yeah, so in this figure we can compare the trade-off performance by controlling different hyperparameters. So like in this figure, the x-axis is the fairness matrix, the y-axis is the accuracy matrix. So like that means like if the curve is more close to the a bottom right point, then the performance, then the trade-off performance will be better. Yeah. The next one would be the fair graph message pathing. I guess this what you are interested in, like in the for the fairness work in graph. So yeah, in the last work, we try to develop automated data augmentation for fair graph learning. So this kind of like from data perspective to tackle the fairness issue. Yeah, in this work, I will focus on the model perspective. We try to develop a fair graph message pathing module to achieve the fairness in graph. So before that, yeah, I just wanna introduce provide some background on the message pathing or graph neural networks. Yeah, in the left part, so here is the here is the CNN, the convolutional network. So like for the CNN, so they like usually they have a kernel. So for example, here is the 3x3, and they try to use the convolutional operation to somehow to somehow like process the relation between different image pixels. Yeah, because like essentially for the image data, there is some like special correlation like among different pixels. Yeah, this word the CNN do. Yeah, but for the graph, the problem is kind of more complicated because because the topology, the connection is more like the connections is not that regular like the image data. So yeah, so like in graph neural networks, like I would like to say the high level idea is also similar with the CNN. Yeah, they just try to aggregate some information from their neighborhoods. Yeah, but in the graph, the neighborhoods is not necessarily special related with the central node. Yeah. For the graph data, the topology will be more irregular. Yeah, so from that sense, the GNN is somehow like a general version of the CNN. Yeah, but technically the GNN for the aggregation step, it is very different with the CNN. Yeah, and then we will talk about the motivation for our work. Yeah, why we try to why do we try to consider the fairness problem from the model perspective, like for graph. So yeah, so here is some like empirical observation. So the first thing is that if we directly use the GNN for graph data to do the model prediction, then we will find that, of course, the GNN will achieve the better performance, but at the same time, the GNN will also show a higher bias than the MLP. So yeah, like usually you cannot achieve the double wins in terms of the fairness and the accuracy. Yeah, but by the way, how many times do I have? Like yeah, if not,
you have 20 until 3:30 max. Sorry, 20 minutes.
Okay, I will quickly go through the remaining slides. Yeah, I will just talk about the high level idea.
Don't worry about the time. We're pretty relaxed here.
Okay.
Yeah, but 20 minutes, yeah, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So the observation is that the GNN will show higher discrimination. So the problem is that, like, how can we debias the GNNs, right? And also try to preserve the good accuracy. Yeah, and from the data source perspective, so here, like in the right figure, we can show that the bias source could be from the biased attribute or biased structure. So I would like to say the bias structure would be the most special part for the graph data. Yeah, because the graph topology can still contain the central attribute information there. Yeah, and also I guess this is one of the reason that the GNN will show higher bias. Yeah, because the GNN will make use of the structure information. Yeah, you use of this biased information, like so that like the prediction could be even more biased. Yeah, here is the motivation. Yeah, so here's the challenges for this work. So the first thing is that, of course, we know that there are some issue in the message passing part, but how can we achieve the fair message passing part? It's not that straightforward and non-trivial. Yeah, and also at the same time, we have several requirements for the derived fair message passing. So the first thing is that, because we mainly focus on the model structure part. So we expect that, like, even though we did nothing for the data pre-processing, we only use the cross entropy loss to train the graph model. So we expect that the fair message pathing module can still work in this kind of setting, right? So yeah, and secondly, the derived fair message passing should be comparable with the backward propagation training. So that means like we cannot use the sampling process, this kind of process in that forward procedural design. Yeah, because this part is non-differentiable. Yeah, and the final part would be like, we also wanna provide some theoretical analysis for that, like why this kind of structure can achieve the better fairness. Yeah, we don't wanna the handcraft architecture design. So we want to derive the structure from theoretical perspective. Yeah, so fortunately we do have some existing framework that can be used in our problems. So that is called a unified optimization framework, like for many different graph neural networks. So they many like consider the graph neural networks from the graph signal denoising perspective. Like yeah, the story would be like this. So assume that we have the noisy signal X in. X in is the node attribute matrix. And also we wanna do some like processing to get a clean signal out. So yeah, this process can be formulated by by this loss function. So here we have two terms. The first is that and the output should be close to the input. So yeah, this quite normal. And yeah, the second part would be the smoothness prior. So I would like to say the smoothness prior is the most tricky part, and also it is highly related with the graph data. Yeah. So the right one would be the right one is the most common used smooth prior. We call the delivery energy here. So the basic idea is that for connected nodes, so we try to pursue similar node representation or similar
Labels, yeah.
prediction. Yeah, so we try to measure the difference between all of the connection nodes and then summarize them together like this. So yeah,
So,
we expect that the energy should be not that high and also should be not that low. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a question about, sorry, the clean signal here. So is it like the feature matrix or the topology? Because you have the node features or attributes, and you have the topology, the adjacency matrix, the edges. Which one you are denoising, the edges or the features?
The features.
The features.
Yeah, the features. Yeah. Yeah. For example, we have n nodes, we have the feature dimensions. Then the shape of this f will be n by d. Yeah, the topology information is only used in this part, in this summarization part.
What if the topology is kind of incorrect? You have noisy edges.
Yes, this also a very interesting questions. Yeah, but yeah, I would like to say we haven't
Explored
investigated
that.
this problem. Yeah, in
Okay.
that setting.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
But it is a very good directions to do some follow-up work. Yeah, to make it fair, to make it fair and robust.
Fair and
Yeah.
robust. That's ideal. In an ideal world.
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the formal procedure to solve this problem is that firstly we have to define the prior. We have defined the smoothly prior. Actually, we have different options there. Yeah, and then we choose a optimization solver to explicitly solve this optimization problem, and then we will get a message passing procedure. So here is some like specific example for different graph neural networks, the GCN, PPNP, or GCN-II. So yeah, so like ideally, if you choose different loss functions, you choose different optimization solver, you will get the different message passing scheme. So yeah, this word, yeah, if you're interested, you can see this paper like for the details. Yeah, but basically, if you design different prior, if you choose different optimization solver, you will get different message pathing. So our work like is based on this unified optimization framework. So here we add one more terms, that is the fairness prior. So yeah, I would like to say the kind of idea is very simple. Yeah, but for the optimization solver, it's kind of tricky because this optimization involves in this L1 norm objectives. So we try to solve this problem like using some optimization methods like for example, like using the French conjugate or something to solve these problems, to make these problems even more simple. Yeah, and then finally we will get our message pathing scheme like this. So yeah, basically we can integrate this schedule. Like for example, in the first step, uh, we just do the aggregation with the skip connection. We also try to learn some perturbation vectors to debias the node representation. Yeah, so here is the overview of the fairness message pathing procedures here. So we have 3 steps. The first one is the use MLP to learn some representation, to do some feature transformation. And also we have the normal propagation. Yeah, here the propagation means that the aggregation with skip connection. So we treat this step in the propagation step. And finally, we have like some debiasing part. This is the most important part we proposed. So here we learn, so for example, like so here in this figure is the node representation, and the different colors represents different, for example, different gender. Yeah, and then in the debias part, we try to learn this perturbation vectors. Yeah, and then try to make them like close. So in that way, like it's very hard to identify the central attribute from the node representation, so that we can achieve the
You
so
want
that we
them to
can
be agnostic? Sorry, why? So sometimes, particular attributes could be discriminative, they could be interesting attributes. How do you, so like for a particular prediction task, these values, particular features could be important. So if you bring them all to identity, to the same thing, to the same space, right? You make them very similar. Then, for example, let me give you an example, okay? So like in heart disease, the gender is very important in identifying the shape, the changes of the shape of the heart, for example. It applies also to the brain. So some particular variations or changes are actually affected by the gender. So if you want to bring to be completely agnostic to the gender by somehow perturbing the data in such a way that you don't disentangle the female from the male brain, how would you understand that the change in that particular brain due to that particular disease is induced by the disease itself, or is also kind of influenced and controlled by the gender as a variable, as a causal variable somehow? So you understand what I'm saying? So it depends on the context, but can you share a few reflections on that?
So I think this is very good question. Yeah, but I would like to say, like, it's still like durable to achieve the comparable performance. Like even though there are some like strong correlation between the central attributes and the labels, like because because like even though you try to pursue some similar model behaviors between different central attribute group, but still like for other normal features, it's still possible to contain the central attribute information there. For example, if you totally like mask the central attribute, like it's still possible to get the information, like this kind of like the information parse, like you from the label to other normal feature to sensitive
features. So you want to mask, basically, you want to be agnostic to sensitive features and rely on other features for your final decision making. That's the main idea, right? Okay, got it. So I have another question about the prediction using MLP. Do you train it using in a supervised way? Do you use the labels to train? So that makes sense. Learn the representation. Okay.
yeah, this just like for the model structure design. So still like we have to train our model, like
Right.
using, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. 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 So, I would like to say like the developed file message pathing is purely from the theoretical perspective. It is not the handcraft architecture design, and also the procedure is also very clear. They have like 3-step prediction, propagation, and the debiasing. So yeah, so we understand like how this forward works. Yeah, we conduct several experiments to validate the result. So I would like to say, so because we just want to identify the effectiveness of these graph architectures. So in our experimental setting, we only consider the cross entropy loss without any pre-processing. So in that way, we can compare our architectures with other architectures. So yeah, this the yeah here is the result. So as we can see, so basically we can achieve the lower fairness matrix, which is the best, and also in terms of the accuracy, it is somehow comparable or even best in some specific data set. Yeah, yeah, and also like additional to that, we also compare the performance for different architectures, like in different fail training strategy. We just wanted to say that our developed structures can be comparable with many existing training strategy. So yeah, if we use other fairness training strategy, still we can get the better performance than other GNN architectures. So yeah, we consider different fair strategies, like including the adding regularization, adversarial debiasing, and the fair mix up, and yeah, and
So
yeah, many things.
yeah, so sorry. So ideally, where would you like to be in this space on the grid? So you have the DP as an y-axis and the accuracy, right? The
Yeah,
accuracy,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
The idea,
what is the ideal quadrant?
our ideal quadrant would be the bottom, right. So here,
Yeah,
yeah, bottom right represents that we have 100% accuracy, we have zero bias.
zero bias. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
yours
yeah,
is
so
like in that quadrant. So it's kind of,
yeah,
so why you have yeah, so the pink curve here, which is your method, right?
yeah, yes,
Yeah. So why do you have a very low, not a very high DP for regularization, like in that graph? So you see it's very vertical, right? Can you
yes,
explain
yes.
that pattern? Like, can you give us insights why you have that?
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, because all of these structures, general architectures are conducted in fairness methods. Like in fairness method, for example, in the adding regularization, we have several hyperparameters. So
Yep.
to evaluate the trade-off performance, we control, like we use different hyperparameters.
Oh, nice. Okay. So okay, so compare the
Yeah,
hyperparameters. Okay.
if the hyperparameters is low, then yeah, then the DP will be high. So yeah, we just try to go through the different hyperparameters from low to high, like to
Low to
see,
high for each
yeah,
method.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, but for the cross entropy loss, so we don't have this trade-off performance. We only have this table.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's no hyperparameters. We cannot control like to obtain different accuracy or different fairness metrics.
So why GCN performed very well? I'm very interested. Like I've read so many papers, and even I know when my students work on GCNs, they do actually perform very well, sometimes compared to fancy methods. So in your table, I can see that your GCN in the
You mean
POCIC-N
you mean for the accuracy or
for the
or
for the accuracy for the cross entropy. in the table.
Oh, in this table.
Yes, in this table. Yeah, that one, 71,
yeah.
78.
Yeah, I would like
Accuracy.
to say for the accuracy part, the GCN is very competitive. Like,
Right.
like, yeah, it is like 71, this 70.
What about the fairness for
Yeah,
GCN?
yeah. Yeah, for the fairness part, the GCN is worse than our
It's
method.
worse. Yeah, so it's a
Yeah,
trade-off. Yeah, okay.
and also the GCN is even worse than the MLP.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, then the next work is it's the topology methods in fair graph learning. So in this work, we try to understand the graph data bias. So the motivation is kind of similar with the last work. Yeah, because for the graph data, we have the bias attribute. We also have the bias structure. Yeah, so yeah, because as we mentioned before, there are many existing work provide the empirical observation or empirical evidence. But how can we understand this problem? Why GNN demonstrate higher bias than the MLP? So we wanna try to understand this problem from a theoretical perspective. So I just quickly go through that. So here we provide one intuition to show that why GNN aggregation suffers. Yeah, so the first I would like to introduce the concept named the sensory homophily. So here we can develop the graph connection links into two types, the interlink and the intralink. Different color represent different sensory attributes. Then the sensory homophily coefficient represents the ratio of the intralink among the whole links. So yeah, we can also observe that in several real-world graph data sets, the sensory homophily is usually high. For example, in the POC-N dataset, the homophily coefficient is 95%. So that means like most of the link is the intralink. So as a extreme case, so if we have 100% sensory homophily like this, that means like all the male and the female are connected together, and there is not any intralink like between these two groups. Then if we just directly use the GNN to learn the node representation, then easily we will get node representation like this. The male and the female group representation will be clustered, will be tangled together like this. Then it is easily to estimate the sensory attributes like in the node representation space like this, right? Yeah, because we can easily identify the different colors, like using this kind of information. So I guess this the intuition for why GNN suffers in terms of the fairness. Yeah, but the question like still like is that like how can we theoretically understand this behavior? So we need somehow like a quantitative way to measure this phenomenon. So this is what I want to do like in this research. So yeah, this part is kind of theoretical, and there's many definitions there. So I just want to avoid that. Yeah. So like in summary, we provide a sufficient condition to quantify, like to indicate when and why, like the bias enhancement happens after the aggregation. So the bias enhancement represents that, like here. So for example, we have the original node features, and after the node aggregation, we have the node representations, right? So we can measure the bias for the representation part or like the input part. So yeah, so the bias enhancement represents the positive gap between these two parts. So we just wanna like identify when the bias enhancement happens. Yeah. So and then we can integrate. We can provide uh, some interpretation for this sufficient condition. Yeah. Specifically, we find that if the graph data have the larger sensitive homomorphic coefficient, if we have larger number of nodes or connection density or balance the demographic size, then the bias enhancement will happens like easily. So yeah, so so as an example, like if we have 100% sensitive homomorphic coefficient like this, yeah, then the bias enhancement will happen easily.
I can I ask a question here? So, like when you say homophily, look, if so, I know maybe this is a completely different problem. So, I think in this context, you consider for if the color represents gender, in this context, you don't want to have a lot of homophily because that would bias the model. But if you were in a different context where you want to actually do gender prediction, so for example, we worked on a project, we designed a regression graph neural network that takes as input a brain graph and outputs and predicts the gender of the graph. Okay, so in this case, if our population graph has a very high homophily, then that would be something not bad, because for label propagation, right, you're gonna have a very good prediction of the gender, right? So in some contexts or in some applications, high homophily is good. But why is it bad? Why is it kind of bad or not good for your problem?
So probably I should like talk about the setting before.
Yes,
so
this
here,
setting, exactly.
So here in our setting, so like the prediction label is different with the sensory attribute. So the sensory attribute is kind of like the special input features.
Okay.
So our goal is try to predict the label more accurately, but also at the same time, we don't want to like the model prediction show any discrimination for that. If you choose for example, the gender as the label, then of course the graph topology is very important to achieve the better prediction performance. So
okay, cool.
I think this conclusion like is consistent with our part. Because we treat the gender as the sensitive attribute. So we don't wanna like we don't wanna like to make the sensitive attribute can be easily estimated. So I would like to say the goal is different. Because we
okay, the
treat
goal is different. Exactly. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yes. So the conclusion for this slide is that the topology actually matters in fair graph learning, right? So like motivated by this, we try to revise the graph topology to achieve the fair graph learning like this. So the loss function is also very simple. So here we wanna lower sensitive homomorphy, right? Because as we mentioned before, larger sensitive homomorphy will hurt the fairness performance. But also at the same time, here is the label homomorphy. Label homomorphy is that we want to maximize. So if you use the gender as the label, then you want to maximize the label homomorphy. So this is why we have the negative part here. So I guess this is consistent with you have mentioned. The third part would be the topology perturbation. So we don't want a larger topology perturbation. So we want to try to preserve the information as much as possible like this. And then we just this is what we have done, like to revise the graph topology. So basically the proposed method is a data pre-processing method. And also we do have like some validation on our theoretical finding. So we do find that if we have the larger sensitive homomorphy, then it's easily to get a demographic to get a larger demographic parity difference. So I would say like the train, like for different parameters like sensitive homomorphic number of nodes, connection density are consistent with what we have found in theory. And also on real world data, we also show that the proposed method can achieve the lower demographic parity for across different graph neural network architectures. Yeah, because as I mentioned before, this pre-processing method and can be used for many different graph architectures. So we just want to show our method. Yeah, it's actually effective for many different architectures. Yeah, and also our method is orthogonal with other fair learning methods. Yeah, because this is still like this kind of like pre-processing method. It is comparable with the different architectures with different fair learning strategy. So yeah, so the conclusion is the same. So yeah, then we'll go through the final part. It is named the tracing fairness under the distribution shift. Yeah, so I would like to say most of existing methods just assume that the training and the test data sets have the same data distribution. Yeah, but in practice, that could be an issue, right? Yeah, like for example, the training and the testing data set could be collected under different scenario. For example, like in different locations, different time periods. Like that could be show like some discrepancy between the training and the data and the testing or deployment environment. Yeah. Yeah. So we wanna consider the fairness problem and the distribution shift setting. Yeah, and also like for the motivation. So actually there are some existing methods to theoretically show that actually the fairness matrix is even more vulnerable under the distribution shift setting. Like if you're interested, you can read this NeurIPS paper. This very theoretical paper. Yeah, because ideally we have many matrix. For example, we have accuracy, we have the fairness matrix. Yeah, so this paper can show that the fairness matrix is even more vulnerable under this distribution shift setting. Yeah, that which indicates that it's very important and challenging to achieve the robust fairness under the distribution shift problem. Yes, here is one example, like for, if the central attributes, if there is a noise for the central attribute, then the fairness matrix could be changed significantly. Yeah, so that means the fairness matrix is very sensitive to the under the distribution shift setting. Yeah, so here is the challenges I have mentioned before. So in our work, so we have two contributions. The first is that we try to rethinking the distribution shift problems. So as I mentioned before, like the distribution shift represents that there is like some distribution gap or distribution difference between the training and the testing data set, right? So we can somehow understand this gap, like or attribute this gap into the data perturbation. So like that means if we intentionally insert some data perturbation into, for example, into the training or source data set, then we will find that like the perturbed source data set have the same data distribution with the target data set. So I think this conclusion is trivial, right?
How can you so when you do data perturbation, right? So you have the source distribution, and if you learn or predict the right perturbation, maybe you can infer the distribution of the target, right? So is that your goal? Is your goal to
No,
learn how? No, okay, so that's a different
no,
problem. So what's your goal
yeah,
then?
yeah, because like in practice, we cannot access the
The
target.
target, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's completely
yeah,
unseen, right? So it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that means it's impossible to get the data perturbation, like the exact the data perturbation.
Yep.
But yeah, but we can understand, oh, there exists some unknown data perturbation, like to make the perturbed to make sure that the perturbed source data set will be the same with the target data set.
Mm.
Yeah, we can only know that there exists something like to make them equivalent. Yeah,
So there
yeah,
exists
and
something to make them equivalent, but how can you make them equivalent if you don't have access to the target data
yeah,
T?
yeah. So that's the most critical point in this work.
Okay,
So
good.
I will introduce it later.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and yeah, because like the data perturbation is in the input part, right? So we can also like subsequently, we can also transform this part into the model weight perturbation. We can only show that like the model weight perturbation can somehow like lead to the same effect as the data perturbation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because like ideally, oh, we just do some perturbation. Yeah, so I think the conclusion is very simple. Yeah, but in our work we try to provide a more regular statement on this. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we try to prove that like based on
Mathematically,
some based on some like Taylor expansion or something like to do that. Yeah,
cool.
so basically we just provide the existing condition. So we don't have to find like how this perturbation or model weight perturbation uh be like we don't want to find like the exact value. Yeah, we can only provide the existing uh the existence for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So this is
because essentially the target data set is unseen, so it's impossible to it's impossible to infer like how the data perturbation looks like. Yeah, it's impossible.
yeah.
Without seeing the target. So
Can I ask a question here? I really love the equivalence between the two completely different paradigms. So you either perturb the data and you train a model, or you take
mm,
a data and you perturb the model, right? So here,
yes.
do you want to enforce that the prediction is the same in both cases? So what is this equivalence here, the double arrow? So what are you trying to do between, are you trying to bridge these two to show that these are both the same? So if you learn the right perturbation vector, the red one, you can still train a model and get a certain probabilities, predictions at the end. And
Yeah.
alternatively, you can take the source data and learn the
mhm,
right weight perturbation too. And if you learn the right weight perturbation, you can still
mhm.
get, so here basically the goal is to take these two and make sure that your y is the same, and the different perturbation vectors will give you the same y. So are you enforcing to have the same predictions at the end or no? Between these two
Uh,
paradigms, or they are completely different?
no. I would like to say
No,
no.
okay.
Because the perturbation is unknown. So actually, we consider the
It
worst
is unknown,
case.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, we consider the worst case of the all possible perturbation.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Oh,
so I just skip this part uh like this. So here the epsilon is the possible perturbation. So here we consider the model weight perturbation.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, theta is the original model weight.
mm-hmm.
The epsilon is the model weight perturbation. So yeah, so we consider the worst case. So like because like essentially we don't know like how the uh target data set look like. So we don't know how the perturbation look like. So we just consider the worst case, like in some specific distribution shift intensity role. So we assume that, yeah.
So
So
rho is
under,
an upper bound, right? So that's an upper
yeah,
bound for you.
yeah,
That rho
yeah.
is like you control the rho. You control how much perturbation. What is the
Yeah,
worst perturbation you might have? Okay.
yeah. So if we can guarantee that for any possible perturbation, we can always perform well, then we would like to say, oh, our model can perform well under the distribution shift. Under
Nice.
any distribution shift with specific intensity constraint, right? So yeah, so this is what we have done, like uh in this work. Yeah, I guess like essentially because the target data set is unknown, so we can only do is like to consider the worst case. Yes, yes, and then like for our work, we consider the fairness under the distribution shift. So like this problem is somehow like different. So the first part is that like we have to characterize like what kind of conditions do we need to pursue the fairness under the distribution shift. So actually easily we can bound the demographic parity at the target data set like by these three terms. So the first is that um, the model should achieve the lower demographic parity at the source data set. And also we have several other additional conditions to achieve the robust fairness. Yeah, these two. So actually we can achieve these two uh like using the model weight perturbation like this. So yeah. Yeah,
What's the difference
just
between the zero, the S0 and the S1? So you have S, that's source and target. So you have zeros and you have ones. What is the one?
oh, so S represents the source data set. The 0 and the 1 represents the subgroups like for the male and the female.
And the female. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so the final solution is very simple. We just add one more regularization terms like this. Yeah. Because like we can bound we can bound the demographic parity like this. So here we need to achieve the lower demographic parity on source data set. And also we need to achieve the low value for this term. This called the robust fairness regularization term that we proposed there. So in that way, we can guarantee the low demographic parity for the target data set. Yeah, so we conduct the experiments for different distribution shift, like including the synthetic distribution shift and the real world distribution shift. For the synthetic distribution shift, so actually we use the different sampling distribution for the training and the test data set. For the real world distribution shift, so we just conduct the data partition. Like for example, we can divide the data like based on different collection time or different states. Like for example, we can train our model in Texas state, like and we try to validate the model performance in the California data set. Yeah, this kind of thing. And also we try to do some experiment. So here is the result for the synthetic part. So here the alpha and the beta can control the different distribution shift intensity. Yeah, actually the alpha and the beta just control the sampling distribution for the training and the test data set. So the conclusion is that our proposed method can achieve the low prediction bias at the low intensity distribution shift. And we can only achieve the comparable performance at the high intensity distribution shift. I guess the problems could be like I think this kind of tricky, like to select the role, like the intensity, the distribution shift intensity ball, like
Because you
the
don't know,
radius.
right? It could be very
Because we
random.
don't know. Yeah. If you choose the larger row value, maybe you can achieve the higher performance for the high intensity distribution shift. But since we don't have any information for the target data sets, that means we cannot select the intensity. So we just curiously select a fixed value. So I would like to say it's not surprising like to achieve the comparable performance for the high intensity distribution shift. But I would like to mention if we can access the input features for the target data set, then it's possible to somehow like to tune the row values like before the deployment. So that's another story. Like if you have more information, of course you can do better. We also conduct some experiments on the real distribution shift like this. So here we consider the spatial and the temporal distribution shift, like this kind of like a real world distribution shift. Here's the results. I just skipped that part. So here is the summary. So we present 5 work during my PhD study. So here is the overview for this. So we consider the fairness in machine learning problem from the metrics, data, and the model perspective. So we have, and also we consider the problems for different data modality, for the tabular data, for the graph data. So here for the metric work, this can be applicable for either tabular or graph data, and for the BCD work, so it is like very specific for the graph context, like because like it essentially involves in the graph topology information. And also for the final work, it is only considered for tabular data. That's all for this presentation.
Very great work for a PhD. Thank you so much for this fantastic presentation. I think there are so many interesting and challenging problems that you tried to solve, and you laid the foundational work for that. So if you guys have any, I think I asked so many questions already during the presentation, but if anyone has a question, please feel free to post it in chat or like raise your hand. Any questions about the topic of, like fairness in general? So I can start with one question maybe, and we need to wrap up in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for your time. So my question is about when you have, for example, if you were to work on, as I mentioned earlier, on corrupted data, right? So you have some corrupted information from different sources, right? And you want to have a fair prediction or a fair decision-making process at the end. So do you have any thoughts on how to take these fairness models and these fairness solutions to the next level, where you identify? So corrupted information is sometimes very hard to identify, right? So it depends. And also sometimes there's a lot of imbalance in the data. And it's very common, like even in like, medical data sets, it's common in social media, so news, so it's everywhere basically. And now I've attended a keynote recently and it was fantastic. It was called, talking about the new AI digital corruption, basically, which is a very, very sensitive and important and urgent problem to solve. And we as AI engineers, I think we also take the responsibility of making sure that the digital world is kind of, fair, robust, de-biased, right? So my question is about corruption. How can you know what is corrupted from not corrupted? And how can you make a fair decision with corrupted data? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think like the most straightforward way is try to observe some different behaviors for the clean and the noisy data. From my understanding, because like I do have some research work like on the label noise, so in some existing literature, like many of them find that the model will firstly learn the clean samples, Like that means like in the initial model training, the model will achieve the higher accuracy for the clean data samples, but the lower accuracy for the noisy data sample, because like the model haven't started to learn the noisy
Oh
sample.
yeah.
And then like after
Coherent
several,
gradients. I think there's a paper called
yeah
Coherent Gradients that I read about that.
and then like and then after several steps, the model will start to overfit the noisy samples. So I guess like it's possible to identify the clean or noisy samples in the initial stage. Like for example, based on the loss value. Like for example, we can just heuristically set a loss value threshold, like to identify the it is like either clean or noisy sample.
So,
Yeah,
but for to be able to identify what is clean and what is noisy, you need to know what is clean and what is noisy. What if you don't have an expert to disentangle what? So let's say you're observing some data for the first time, like a rare disease, right? Like rare observations, like rare diseases. You may not know if this noise for a very limited data. So we work a lot on limited data sets here in my lab, like learning for in limited environments, low regime environments, limited data. So let's say that you have data collected for the first time, and you may not easily disentangle or say, oh, this is a noisy label and this is a ground truth clean label, right? So I think in the solution you mentioned, you pre-assume that you can easily know what is noisy and what is clean, right? So so if you know that, you can learn it, right? You can make it learnable because you already know. But if you don't know it, how can you learn it? So that's even a more difficult question, right? Do you have any thoughts on that? I know it's not maybe.
I got your point. It is very interesting problems and the questions. Like I would like to say like from the model. Like for research, like you have to know like the noisy and the clean data set. So otherwise you cannot identify what kind of like matrix or what kind of like different behaviors they have.
Absolutely.
So so like maybe like we can conduct like some observations or experiments on this existing public data sets. Like in that data set we have the clean which data sample is clean, which data sample is noisy. And then we assume that the finded conclusion or finding like observation is valid in some unknown scenario. Like for example,
I see. You still need to have at least some prior to disentangle, and then you can, even if you cannot, you can still make it learnable because you have some prior there. Excellent. Yeah. Great.
So so I would like to say like for research, you have to know like which sample is clean, which sample is noisy. Otherwise, you cannot evaluate.
Otherwise, you cannot evaluate. Absolutely. It's a very interesting question in a real world application, especially in deployment. Like, so if you cannot evaluate, how would you know, right? So you need to kind of know what is clean and what is noisy to be able to evaluate. Great. Thank you so much, Zhimeng. This has been fantastic. Thank you for your time. And lovely meeting you via Zoom. Thanks for everyone who joined the meeting today. And